Guys, we got another trade show on our hands. We're going to start off with 12-team Superflex PPR start 10. Are you going Cooper Kupp or Deontay Johnson?
That's Scott.
I mean, if you lost Kupp and you're looking to try to get a receiver, I mean, this might be the best you can get. So I think you're fishing in this range, and if this is the best you can get, you want to trade away the positional advantage for what you know is going to be less production, then I'm okay with it. But I think this is in line.
Yeah, 27-year-old wide receiver. The only thing that hurts about this is it might not help you as much as you need it to this year from losing Kupp. Right. But it's a deal that could kind of expedite your desires of moving off of Kupp because he's 30 years old. And like the fantasy football counselor said, this was bound to happen. Eyes rolling hard.
Yeah. If you're just listening, eyes were rolling hard. How about this one, guys? So same thing, 12-team Superflex PPR start 10. Give Cooper Kupp, get Javonte Williams and Calvin Ridley.
I think you're going Kupp there.
Yeah, I guess I like the Javonte and Calvin Ridley. It's just a whole bag of whole mysteries there. Like I'd rather take the risk that Kupp's going to be back from it's a semi-minor injury, right? You know what I mean? Like I expect him to be back next year in full health, so I'll hold on to Kupp.
So you don't think there's enough value on that on the get side to sell them separately? You know, you figure you can maybe turn Calvin Ridley into a second, maybe 2 seconds if you kick back a third, and then get something for Javonte. You're just not going to go along with that mess.
Nah.
So think of this from a team that lost Cooper Kupp, right? Why would you do this trade? You're getting absolutely zero production the rest of this year. At the same time, when things flip to next year, the only thing you're getting with Ridley and Javonte is the ability to, like you said, sell for something different or sell for something higher. So if that's your goal, you're probably not the team that had Kupp to begin with, if that makes sense. Because the person that's interested in this type of move, like, hey, I want Javonte, hey, I want Ridley so I can flip in the offseason, are they the ones that lost Kupp? And I think the Kupp thing is so interesting because he is a aging receiver that's hitting the age cliff. He's never going to play again until he hits the age cliff. But almost every team that has him, go look in your league. Whoever has Cooper Kupp is probably in the top 3.
Yep.
And so now they have to make this decision. And so do you want to trade him for assets or do you want to trade him for production? Or do you want to try to get the best of both? I think that's where you're getting, if you can get a 25, 26-year-old receiver, even if they never hit Kupp level, that's what I'm trying to target. I saw it, Cooper Kupp for Amon-Ra St. Brown today.
Ooh,
like, I'll trade Kupp for that, but I don't understand the motivation for the person that's trading for Kupp. So I don't know. I think that if you can hit that range, it's an automatic sell. This isn't enough for me.
So I've turned into the devil's advocate on this show, it seems. But devil's advocate, I'm from the other side. I'm going, well, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I still don't believe in him. 4th-round draft pick, and Jameson's coming back. The quarterback situation isn't going to be great. I know Kupp's going to be at worst the wide receiver 3 overall, like he was next year. So I'll be ready to reload next year. That's from the devil advocates, whatever the word is. That's 0 for 2 against English. But yeah, I would definitely take the Amon-Ra St. Brown side on that.
You'll get them next time, Shane. No. Would you spend well, how about this? If you were a contender, you lost Kupp, you were probably a contender, like you said, Scott. Would you sell Cooper Kupp for any 23 first, a late 23 first?
Late 23 first? No, because I think if I lost Kupp, what can I buy with that 23 first, right? I guess maybe this is where things have changed a little bit over the last couple months is the market for the late 23 first has cooled a little bit in terms of like you can sell an early to mid 23 first. As soon as you start getting into that, I'm 9-1 and I'm trying to sell my first. Everyone else looks at that pick and is like, nah,
right,
I'm good. I'll keep even if it's a receiver where you go, man, I know that's not a stud receiver. That's Devontae Smith or Brandon Ayuk. Like we know those guys are good. Difference makers, probably not. Yet you still can't get those guys with like for the late 23 first, unless that team is just like, man, I have 8 receivers. I have too many. I need picks so I can try to upgrade my quarterback or get a running back. But that's it. Like the value wise, I think people are kind of fading the 23 picks again, the 23 picks right now if they're late.
What do you think, Shane?
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem. If you're a contender, I mean, if there's no trade deadline, then maybe I trade him for a 23 first and then see if I can use that 23 first with something else. Just because I know it is still a pick and it's still more fungible than an injured player that's 29 years old. I don't know how many leagues outside of the ones we play in don't have trade deadlines. That, you know what I mean? Like most leagues have a trade deadline. So no, I'd probably not. If I'm contending, that's not the move I'm going to make. I'm going to try to make a move like, all right, can I get my dude Deontay Johnson, or how about can I go get George Pickens and another piece? Because at least I'm hedging a little bit. Like George Pickens can help me this year, but he's more likely to help me in the future too.
What about a move like this? And obviously these are under certain circumstances, but what about trading Cooper Kupp for Marquise Hollywood Brown and an early second? Right. So you're not going to get Marquise either this year, but you're getting that liquid second to play with, giving up Cooper Kupp.
I'd be okay with it. I actually think you do get Marquise this year, and maybe after his bye, he's supposed to come back.
Sure.
Now, I think you have to decide: is he in that range where is he in the Devontae Smith and Brandon Ayuk range where you just ask, would you do those straight up? So I think when you put it that way, and I'm getting the early second, can I go buy points with my early second to hedge my bets against maybe not getting Marquise Brown back? Because there's a chance, he comes back and he's either not that good or not recovered from the foot injury. But can I go buy another supplemental piece to kind of fill in the gap of what I'm losing with Kupp? But I still have Hollywood for next year. And we know we like Hollywood as a good player. I know Shane might be a little off of him now because he's been injured so many times. But
the glass foot.
Right.
Well, yeah. Look, when your foot's made of peanut brittle, I get concerned. You know what I mean? Like, because the foot's a pretty important appendage for a wide receiver and most humans.
It's debatable. It hasn't been proven.
Especially wide receivers. Like, they need those to run unless they let them start playing with those little scooter things on it. So Brown, but specifically to Brown, no, I wouldn't do it because of his injury history. I'm worried about his foot. 2, also, I don't want to move from Kupp to another injured player. At least not one that has a chronic history of injuries.
That's fair. Okay, so we've got almost 200 people in here with us on this live stream. We love to hang out with our subs on Tuesdays and Saturdays, and they come to us with trades that are sitting in their inboxes. All right, so I've got a couple in the hopper here, and then we'll go over to the chat. Here's one. It's a 10-team Superflex half PPR start 10. Give CeeDee Lamb, get apparently the guaranteed 101. And a projected early to mid 24 first.
Easy. Slam dunk 101 in the
Easy?
first. 10-team half PPR, yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, I'm going to get me some CJ Stroud, and then I'm going to trade that 24 first for a 23 first, and probably go get me a good running back, assuming they don't all get injured before the end of the season.
Okay. All right. That settles that. That was someone who hit me up on Twitter. Is like, hey, Clay, I hope you could put this up on the stream tonight. You got it, brother. All right. So let's move on over. We had an early super chat that came in. We appreciate this very much. 12-team Superflex PPR start 11. Lance 323 first, 2 mid to late. Okay. Let me start over here. No commas and stuff. Come on, Benny. You can give us $5 if you give us commas. No. Okay. 12-team Superflex PPR start 11. Lance 323 first, 2 are mid, 1's late. 3 23 seconds, 2 are early, 1 are mid. Get Lamar, Saquon, Amari, Cooper. I have Deshaun Watson, Zach Wilson, Miles Sanders, AJ Dillon, Pollard. Without Cooper, is it too much to pay? 8-1, going for it all. Okay, so you're giving up 3 firsts, 3 seconds, and you're getting Lance. Lamar, Saquon, and Lance. Lamar, Saquon, and Amari.
It's a lot to give up. I'm going for it. This is where I start getting real frisky, and this is why I collect picks, because I'm in a position, hopefully I'm in a position that I can actually go win something and use them to win something this year, and then get a top 5 quarterback in fantasy football in Lamar. Very good piece in Saquon this year, and a good piece in Amari. So it's a lot to pay, but I'll pay it.
Yeah, I mean, it is a start 11, so those seconds definitely have some appeal too. He's giving up
Yeah.
7 assets, but he's stacking Cooper with Deshaun Watson. He is basically turning Lance and a first / 2 firsts. Let's say Lance and 2 firsts into Lamar Jackson. And then he's basically paying the rest for Saquon Barkley. So this is one of those where this is exactly why you save up assets. This is your one big move. If you go out and next week Saquon Barkley gets hurt, you don't have a way out of this trade. Like you're committing. So this is your one time where you can basically spend and go crazy. So I'm okay with it. I think he got decent value because he's moving from Lance. I like the moving from Lance to Lamar and basically just giving a couple picks to do it, because that's a move where when the injury happened to Lance, that's what you were begging to get, and he's getting it.
Exactly.
8 weeks later, because the team probably is like, I'm out of it. I want, I'm playing for next year. You can have Lamar. So yeah, I like it.
Yep, exactly. Next one up is Marcus. Go ahead. 10-team Superflex PPR. Thank you very much for the super chat. 10-team Superflex PPR start 8. Gave a late 23 first, a 24 first, Derek Carr, Zach Wilson, and then 2/3 received Herbert, Justin Herbert. Was this too much? Also have Watson, Prescott, Lance, and Wentz at QB.
So Carr and Zach Wilson. Let's see.
Smizash.
And a 23 and a 24 first. Yeah, no, bro. I like this a lot. I know you didn't need to do it, but
the value is ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm doing this all day. I'll worry
about
why I
like
Prescott and Lance later.
I like it for this reason too. He had clearly 8 or 6 quarterbacks going into this. And instead of having to give up like all picks or his skill players, he was able to somehow find somebody to take Carr and Zach Wilson and counted towards the trade value. That's the key of the trade. Exactly. He gave up essentially like three firsts-ish, a little bit more for a quarterback in a 10-team, which is fair. But the fact that 30% of the value he gave away was in the form of quarterbacks, where if you looked at his roster, I'm going like, man, I don't want to give him this deal when he's just basically throwing me his QB 5 and 6, so
yeah. In the
I think that's where this is why you hoard quarterbacks and why it sometimes works.
Yep. I love it. Now you're the belle of the ball with that QB room. Okay. Can you hide that sucker, please? I can't find it on my screen. All right. So I'm gonna go to a question here that we had as well. We got some other super chats, and we're gonna hit a bunch of non-super chats too. This one I thought was cool. I got this one late last night. Didn't have the mindset to be able to respond to it, but thought you guys could speak to it better anyway. Why is target share so heavily valued in situations where the QB is fluid? Who's to say that Atlanta's next QB doesn't prefer getting the ball to Pitts? Then all the target share numbers are useless. And he also said that QBs are people who have preferences.
They are. So this is the first thing, and I didn't create this. This is Peter Howdy.
Targets are earned.
Targets are earned. And what we see with targets is it's sticky. It's a sticky stat, even when there is quarterback change. You look at DeAndre Hopkins, for example. He's played with many quarterbacks throughout his days. The one consistent is he hogs the targets. Even Kyle Pitts right now, his target share, and that's what we're talking about, his target share is still elite. It's just that the targets themselves absolutely are trash because they're coming from, a receptacle at the quarterback position. But yeah, you earn targets, and basically target share is a sticky stat. Like you see Deontay Johnson, for example, even though he's having a bad season this year, like it doesn't matter who the quarterback is, he's generally going to see a 25 to 30% target share. When you see that repeatedly, you realize, okay, it's not quarterback preference. It's a earned stat from a wide receiver.
Yeah. I mean, I think you can argue that if there's a situation change, a coaching change, like that may slightly influence who gets the ball. But I think the only way you can really measure how good a receiver is not just from their totals or their fantasy points. Is like there's a lot of other things you can look at. So you can look at just market share. You can look at air yard share. You can look at yards per route run. You can look at targets per route run. You can look at all of those things to come together and get like a full package to try to say like, who are the good receivers and who are the ones that maybe might be benefiting by situation over anything else. I mean, and that's just looking at data. There's other people that will look at like reception perception, for instance, will give you another piece of the puzzle. But I think when you add all this stuff together, we can pretty comfortably say, and it's the same reason why we're really good at picking out rookie receivers or scouting receivers. Like, and I'm not saying we don't miss on them, but if you had to say there is one thing in the like rookie scouting space that has been true, tried, studied over a long period of time, it's looking at like college production and how it translates to the NFL and then how that correlates with draft capital. Like that's the one thing we can pretty much say like we have a decent idea of how to project. And then you have to just apply like the quarterback efficiency or the situations and say, okay, I have Marquise Brown. He has these numbers coming from him from Baltimore to Arizona. But everything's different, right? New offense, new quarterback, new receivers around him. But then he steps in. You got to figure he's going to step in and at least get a baseline level of enough to be productive, right? He's like at career 23% coming into this season. Does that mean he's going to get 23% in Arizona? No, it could be 21, it could be 28. But I think very comfortably we're able to say Marquise Brown is a good player that can earn targets. So I think when you look at those things, I don't really care about what offense it is, what coordinator it is, what quarterback it is. Teams have a lot of good players on their team, but really you only have a couple players per team where you're like, all right, that guy's a 20+% target share guy. I'm going to assume the ball goes to him. So that's a long story, but I think that's the easiest way to answer it is it's data that's been tried and until it stops working. And we have, guys like Gabriel Davis that have had 11% target share coming in when a guy like that all of a sudden goes off for a 32% market share season and he's a wide receiver 1, then maybe we reassess, but we really haven't never had that.
Yep. Okay, so we're gonna get to a super chat
real quick though.
Okay, what's up?
Sorry, just wanted to cut you off.
No, you're good.
But so we do see someone with an insane spike in their target share, like Debo Samuel last year, right? Like before that, he had never been above like 22%, and then last year he was much higher. That's one of those times you can go, you don't think that's going to happen again because you have 3 to 4 years of data prior to that. Where you go, you didn't do that in the 3 to 4 years prior to this. Nothing's changed. And then all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, you saw this massive spike. Those are the times.
Well, here's a better example. Who leads the league right now in target share?
CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb.
Nice.
Now, CeeDee Lamb, if you remember, got criticized for basically not being a guy that earned 25% market share. Right. He was around 21%. And the argument was, and part of the argument that Shane was talking about is just because you have other players around you, that shouldn't be a reason where you can't get the ball. And that was the argument with CeeDee. Oh, he had Michael Gallup. Oh, I had Amari Cooper. Oh, he had tight ends, whatever. Yep. But all of a sudden he gets into a situation where it's like, okay, there really isn't anybody else around him. The expectation is he goes from 21 to 27 or +%, and he's done it. So I think you have to now put him in a different category than you did before this season.
Right. And then I saw someone, they also brought up Cooper Kupp, and and that's why I was betting against Cooper Kupp. Right. Because of the increase, I was like, oh, well, this isn't who he's been most of his career. And then he came out this year and he was like, no, still that dude. You know what I mean? So sometimes you are going to miss and you're just going to have to reassess, but that's why it's fluid too. Like, if you have a year and a half of data, you're going to have to go, all right, well, the previous 3 years of data clearly don't mean as much as the last year and a half.
Okay, so let's move over to this inbox trade before we hit a super chat. I was going to have a nice segue going from Atlanta to Atlanta here with Drake London in this one, but Shane, the Eagles fan, condolences, by the way, had to interject. Gotcha. Inbox trade from Mark. 12-team Superflex, half PPR, start 9, rebuilding. Give Breece Hall, get Drake London.
I'm good.
Man, I'll tell you what, if this was full PPR, I'd be like, yeah, give me all the London.
Yeah.
And even selling low on Hall, I think I want to hold on to Hall.
I know, because I like so much about it. It's like, rebuilding, you're getting rid of a running back and all, and then you see that half PPR thing.
Well, it's
Kind
half
of
PPR, but
keeps it on Breeze's side. Start 9.
it's also start 9, yeah, which means the running back advantage, or having a running back potentially that's an advantage, means a little bit more. Whereas, in a start 11, start 12, you might be fine just kind of punting the running back. So yeah, those are the two factors, but it's close.
Yeah, it is real close. Like, it's one of those, if you just throw something else on it, I'm like, all right,
Yeah, it's not going to take much.
done.
Like Rachaad White, I mean, is plenty,
Oh,
right?
yeah, we're done.
Yeah. Okay, so let's put this up here. Here is the super chat we got from Dylan. Let's put up the question he had. It's a 14-team full PPR start 8 1 QB. I traded Miles Sanders and a late 23 second for Elijah Moore and a late 23 first.
Yeah, you
Smash it.
You got it first, bro. Good job. And then if
Yeah.
Elijah Moore ever is allowed to play football again, if Meathead lets him out of his penitentiary, this would be a great deal.
Yeah, no, that's a great trade. That's a great trade through and through. Is Elijah Moore going to turn into anything in a start 8? Unlikely, but you got the first. You got the best piece in that deal.
I think that's the key. Is
Yeah.
it's a start 8, and the most liquid piece that he can potentially add to like another first to get a legit starter is probably the pick. So that's another reason to kind of, if you can, in shallow leagues, if you can take like 2 pieces like this and turn it into 1, and it's not a player, which is a lot of times harder to do. It's hard to say, here, I'll give you 3 players for 1. But when it's 3 players for a pick, maybe you can find somebody that'll do that needs depth. So nice deal.
Yep. Thanks again. We'll move over to another one here from the Dudney. Had to organize a 3-team trade to get this one done. Like it. Everyone likes a good menage. 12-team, 1 QB, PPR, start 8. Gave Travis Etienne, Kadarius Toney, Mike Gesicki, a 25 first, a 25 third. Got Justin Jefferson.
Oh, yeah, bro. I like this a lot. And you don't
done.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Done.
I don't like 3-ways. I got to be honest with you. I'm always confused as to who I'm supposed to pay attention to and stuff. But
that's a you problem.
Yeah, I would definitely put the effort in to if it ended up with being like a Justin Jefferson payoff.
Yeah, that one. Okay. Yeah. That's the end of the rainbow there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's you killed it. You killed it. That's very good value on a Justin Jefferson and a 1 QB start 8. Yeah, full PPR. Good stuff, man. I don't know what else to say about that. Thank you for the super chat again.
Excellent deal.
Yeah.
Man. That's look, you had a bunch of pieces and consolidated them into one monster piece in a start 8, which is what you want to do.
Yeah, at the end of that, you should have said, "Ask me anything."
Yeah.
Right. If you can pull off something like that.
He definitely smoked a cigarette after that trade.
Nicely done, Shane. Okay, so I brought up this guy's name before, and we had this question that we got before the show. What are your thoughts on Rachaad White? I bought him right before the game Saturday, and I liked what I saw.
I mean, I think if we want to turn this into a bigger discussion of what do you think about Rachaad White, the player, I'm not the person for that, but Rachaad White, the prototype, it depends on what you paid. But I also think part of the value you're getting from a guy like this is that you're getting years worth of, I don't even want to say spot starts because that's not the right word, but I also don't think you're paying a early. One of the biggest mistakes I see is people pay a late first or an early second for the guy they think is just going to take over as the starter. Whereas it's weird in the NFL today. Like if you're not the starter, rarely does a team just go, we're going to wait 2 years and then you're the starter. It's like you're either the starter or you're never going to be the starter. So it's the same with like Khalil Herbert, like buying him for an early second because he's going to start next year. Why isn't he a starter now? Like there's rare instances where it's like, okay, there's really 2 really good running backs. At the same time, isn't that kind of on purpose in a way? Like the team wants it to be like that.
Yeah, exactly. They don't care about fantasy football.
So and they did, and look, I mean, we have the elephant in the room is Tom Brady. Tom Brady dictates, I don't have time for no youngins to be learning how to play football, and I'm not even going to give them a chance that they might be the better player. So we're going to run out old Rusty Fournette out there because I know what I'm getting in him. You know what I mean? I'm getting from him. He's going to be where I need him to be, even if he's only going to get me 2 yards on that reception.
Well, let's say he's Tony Pollard. I think that's a comparison. Everyone's going to be like the next Tony Pollard, right? Has he ever been worth a first?
Nobody's always worth a second.
Pockets of time you might have been able to sell for a first, and I have a ton of Tony Pollard in Dynasty. But guess what? Every time he was maybe worth a first, I could go to the best team in the league and be like, hey, you want to give me your 24 first for him? It's probably because I want to play him in that span of time because he's worth the first in that span of time, right? So if it's Zeke's out 4 weeks, I don't want to sell Tony Pollard for the high second, right? But then as soon as Zeke's back and Tony Pollard's not really playable, I would love to get the high second, but no one's paying the high second at that time. So it's almost like you bought him, whatever you paid for him. What you're hoping for is you get Tony Pollard for 2 or 3 years. Yep. You get a guy you can but I'll leave it at this. You got to have a team set up to take advantage of that. If he's your RB5, why'd you buy him? Because if you bought him because you think he's going to step in and start next year, that's where I think I get a little bit hairy on, well, why'd you make that purchase? But if he's your best running back, then go for it.
So Nelly has a question here. 12 teams, start 10, Superflex, tight end premium. I'm in second place. Just lost 2 of my pillars, Kupp and Ertz. I can get Derrick Henry or Deebo for my 23 first and Komet for a 24 second and 23 third. Thoughts? So giving up a late first for Derrick Henry or Deebo. First off, which would you prefer? It doesn't say half PPR or full PPR. Let's just assume full PPR. Derrick Henry or Deebo with that late first?
I'm not paying a first for Deebo.
Yeah, right.
So here's the thing. I should say Deebo because he's the wide receiver, right? So he is more utility, but Derrick Henry is a freak of nature. And I bet against him again last year after the foot injury, and he just came back and was like, no, I'm still a monster, and I'm going to do this forever. So I actually would do it for Henry. I'm not giving up anything of value for Cole Kmet.
Yeah, I'm with Shane.
Yeah.
I'm with Shane.
Okay, so Komet, though, was for a 24 second and a 23 third.
No.
You pay that. You wouldn't pay that for Komet, huh?
No, he's no different than
the tight end premium.
No,
he's no different than Hayden Hurst, someone like that. You know what I mean? I don't really. Is he younger? Yeah. Does he maybe attach to a quarterback that could be as good as Hayden Hurst quarterback? Yeah, but wait 2 weeks and buy either Cole Kmet or buy another tight end for just the third. You know, can you go get Foster Moreau for a third? Like, there's a chance he's better than Cole Kmet the rest of the year. So,
okay, fair enough. Okay, let's go to this super chat here. Thank you very much, Jerome. 10 team Superflex, half PPR, start 10, inbox trade. Give Kupp, get a mid 23 first, so 106 to 108. He's rebuilding.
10 team, half PPR, start 10.
I'm doing it.
Well, so here's my question. He's rebuilding, but he has Kupp, and another team wants to buy Kupp from him. That's probably rebuilding, right? Or retooling for next year. I assume the person buying Kupp is looking for something next year. They're not buying him right now. So I don't know. If it feels like there might be times where I would pay this for Kupp, maybe the half PPR puts it over the top, or I'll take the pick.
Well, look, I mean, even prior to Kupp breaking his ankle, or I don't even know what the injury is, whatever, it doesn't matter. He's on the IR, he's getting surgery. But prior to that, you would have been hard pressed to get a 106 for him in most leagues. I mean, it's just. And not because he's obviously not a bad player or anything like that, just because of his age and our biases against wide receivers that are old. So that's why I'm 100% on board with this deal.
Yeah, I get it.
Get that pick, Jerome. Thank you for that super chat. So we got 269 people joining us. 269, nice. 266. Okay, excuse me. I just made a couple of people go away there. No, if you wouldn't mind, look down, hit that little thumbs up, give us a like if you're enjoying this so far. We'd appreciate that. As I always say, it helps out our little channel here, little channel that's growing. It's like the little engine that could. Read that to my kid today for the 745th 43rd time, I believe. Okay, so we're going to hide this. Let's move on to the next one. Here, Mark said, I see Shane is already 0 for 1 versus the English language today. He's 0 for 2. So
At least,
Mark
yeah.
put this up really early, and he tacked on another L.
But then
soon
did you hear how I said biases? I said it fancy like the British people do.
biases?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say processes later too.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to this one right here from Liam. 12 teams, start 9, half PPR, 1 QB, in second, but just lost Kupp. This is how it is, man, right? It's like I'm a contender and just lost Kupp. Is it worth trying to flip Kupp for another vet like Davante Adams? Better to hold? Any other trade targets? Not sure how to value Kupp. So I'm going to interject real quick here because we just recorded a show last night on trade deadline talk, and we were talking about Kupp and Davante Adams quite a bit, and also DeAndre Hopkins. But guys, what do you think? Trying to flip Kupp for another vet like Davante Adams, better to hold? Any other trade targets? What do you think?
If someone's offering me Davante Adams for him, I'm a contender. I'm taking it.
If I have Davante Adams and the Kupp manager comes to me, you're paying a hefty tax. So if I can literally get away with adding only 5.5 months worth of age for basically very similar players at very similar places in their career with shaky situations next year. In fact, maybe Kupp's situation might be even shakier. I thought this is a gift if you can get Davante Adams for Kupp. This is the ultimate bailout.
Yeah, I remember we were talking about target shares earlier. It's like it's all kismet. Using all fancy words today. Davante Adams, target hog in Green Bay. He goes out to Vegas. Guess what? Still a target hog. It's what the dude is.
Yeah. And he added to, excuse me, I can possibly compete with CMC, Jefferson, Amon-Ra, Swift, Leo, Chad, so Lenny and Rachaad White and London. So I don't want to panic sell Kupp, thinking it might be worth it if I can replace his production.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And look, and Davante Adams probably has the same lifespan as Cooper Kupp, maybe a half a year less.
And then lastly, he wrote this, and I this isn't forged by us. Thanks for all the great advice. You guys have the best Dynasty content on YouTube, hands down. Thank you very much, Liam. Appreciate that. Okay, let's go on to the next one here. We've got a super chat here from Nicholas. What would you pay for Tyreek if you're in a win now? I'd definitely pay at least a mid-23 first.
See, I don't think you get him for a mid-23 first. I think what you got to do is, if we're talking start 10, because that's our default, you got to throw the second piece. You got to go against the process, give the person the process side. You got to throw them the Brandon Ayuk. You got to throw them that type of player, I think, to get
How about this? How about this? Which side would you take here? So it's a 12-team super flex, PPR start 10. Are you taking Tyreek Hill or a projected mid-23 first and Jameson Williams?
I mean, that's probably what you have to take. That's what you got to send to get that, to at least get the offer.
You're contending.
The person's thinking about it. That's what you got to pay.
Yep.
I know Shane struggles with that because he likes firsts and he likes Jameson Williams. So,
but I like winning more than that, right? And this is why we collect assets. Like honestly, these players absolutely their names are meaningless to me by this point of the season. It's all right. What have they done, and what can I get for them, and what can I, what's the what am I giving up by not trading this player? You know what I mean? Jameson Williams has given me donuts all year, and I understand that's because he hasn't played because, whatever. A 23 first can't score for me right now. Tyreek Hill can go out there and be the wide receiver one for me. And as much as I'll hate myself in 4 months when I look at my wide receiver room, hopefully it's not full of a bunch of 30-year-old guys, but this is why we build rosters with some youth in it. And that's why we insulate ourselves with some picks. So you can make moves like this.
If I'm on the selling side, let's say because here's the thing, the team that has Tyreek is probably contending. Rarely are you going to find the Tyreek manager and it's like, yeah, I'm in 11th place. So I think that's one thing we've seen with these elite receivers this year is they're on teams that are already at least in the mix, if not in the top 2 or 3. I think the better question, if you want to get real deals done, you're Tyreek, you're in first place. What entices you if it shows up in your inbox? Clay, I know if you have a first place team and someone sends you a mid-23 first, you're going, fuck that. You know what I mean? You're not even scoffing at that. You're automatic decline. Someone sends you Davante Smith in a mid 23 first. Taking it?
I guess it kind of depends, but yeah, I mean that's the kind of offer that'll maybe.
And
get
I
me
think
the
that's
gut.
the kind of offer that it takes. If
Yeah.
you want to buy Tyreek, that's what you got to pay. You're
He's
not
scoring
getting
so many freaking fantasy points right now.
You're not getting them for a random first. So I think, but if you come with one of those offers, if I send Shane Davante Smith and a mid 23 first for Tyreek Hill, even if he's contending, I know he's going to think about that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where you got to go. I think you got to get to that uncomfortable range and go against the process if you want to buy one of these guys. Because, that's one thing we kind of maybe did wrong. We misappropriated the 23 first market. We thought it would buy guys like this at the end of the year. No, it's not.
Mr. Wonderful, you're wonderful as always. Appreciate it. Deadline week, 10-team Superflex PPR, start 11. Get DK Metcalf, Amari Cooper. Give David Bell, Dulcich, a 23 second and a 24 first. Question mark as to where it's going to be. So let's call it a mid 23 first. Have Deshaun Watson, Russ Wilson, Chase, Higgins, Judy, London, Pitts, 723 first. What 23 first or range would you insert in that deal or keep the first? Okay, that's what the question mark was there. Okay, so he's saying he can get DK, Amari Cooper, give David Bell, Dulcich a 23 second, and what would it have to take on the give side? Where would that first be?
Shane?
Keep first. So I thought this was a deal that's in his inbox, but no, right? So he's saying he's got to add a 23 first to this.
So put yourself in the shoes that's trading away DK and Amari Cooper. What on the other side is appealing to you? Greg Dulcich in a PPR?
Yeah, I could give it. I don't care about David Bell. I don't care about Dulcich.
It's going to have to be an early 23 first if you want my DK and Amari Cooper. Even if I don't need Amari Cooper, it's going to have to be an early 23 first.
Top 3, top 4.
Yeah, because the problem is DK is 25 years old. So this is obviously a player that they don't need to trade. This is a player they should stick in their pocket. So unless you're making it really worth their while, there's no reason for them to do it.
Yeah. I mean, do you like the deal in the first place? I mean, getting DK, he doesn't say if he's contending or not. If he's contending, he's got 723 first. He's in good shape. But looking at his team, it doesn't seem like he's in contention. So would you want to give that up for DK and Amari Cooper in the first place?
Well, two things. So he's got 7 picks. So he controls 7 of the 10 picks already. So I'm going to be a little more liberal with which one I give up, because I don't care as much because I control more of the board, right? So if I have to give up, like this is the type of deal I've been in his shoes before where I have a huge cluster of picks. And of course, I want to sift through them and go, let me trade the shittiest one, right? The other person is probably looking at my chest of picks going, well, I know I'm not getting that 101. I know I'm not getting that 102, but man, I'm not taking that 112 or that 110. Let me aim for that like 104. And he's probably going, no, make it the 110, the 109, the 108. So I think he's going to have to compromise and give up a slightly higher pick, but just because he gives up the 106 instead of the 108, who cares? I like getting the 2 starters, though. I think he could contend potentially if Watson comes back. That's the key. You're getting the 2 pieces, and DK alone is probably worth a mid first.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Let's move off the trades and super chats real quick. I did want to bring this up because we couldn't help but see Christian Watson tonight the other night. You got all the people coming out of the woodwork like, see, he's elite. He's going to be elite. But are Toney and Christian Watson stocks rising for us? If so, what are our thoughts?
So I feel like me and Scott talked about Toney last night. It might have been during a roster review. I don't know. Or we were just talking, just calling each other to talk about Kadarius Toney. I'm not sure. But we were talking
about him last night.
Yeah, we were definitely saying that his stock hasn't risen enough for me. I think you give him one more smash week, with which he should hopefully have, with Juju likely to be out, and then you trade him. Then I think he'll be at his apex then. To me, and I just read Roto World NBC Edge. I forget who was writing the article, but they just wrote up a Kadarius Toney, and they just basically wrote up he only played less than 50% of the offensive snaps last week. His touchdown, I could have scored on. Like, it was just all scheme. You know what I mean? Like, he's still not a very good wide receiver. He only played on 50% of the snaps. He's more of a McCall Hardman type of replacement. So to me, he's still a sell.
So I wrote him up in my DLF article as a buy, but it was the rare. You don't see it often, but it's the rare buy to sell. And it was basically and this is like day trading Dynasty, but this is Juju could be out. McCole Hardman could be out.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing a primetime game against the Chargers, which was like the highest viewed game this year already on Thursday Night Football. It's probably going to be again. So there is a non-zero chance that there is a big Kadarius Toney game. I want to have shares of Kadarius Toney for that reason. If he goes 2 for 27 and still plays 44% of the snaps, then okay, I still have a receiver that's on the Chiefs. But I think if I had to pick between the two, I would take Toney, at least for the short-term opportunity, because we've already seen the community go, man, this guy's awesome. And if he shows it on the Chiefs very quickly, 3 weeks after getting traded there, I think you have an asset that maybe you can't get a first for. You can certainly go in and start picking different receivers that you might want to add to Toney to get. Whereas, I don't think you can do that with Christian Watson. You're not going with Christian Watson going, hey, can I add a second to get George Pickens? Like, he doesn't have that name cachet, but Toney could. So if I had to compare the two, I'd say the stocks are both rising, but I think the Watson stock is still it's amazing. He can have like the game he did, and still people are like, I don't know if he's that good,
Yeah, maybe it's because of everything up until that
anything
point.
else except for him earning the ball. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Scott, you said a buy and then sell. Would you buy Kadarius Toney for a projected early 23 second?
I'd try to do it for like a mid and then add in a kind of a roster clogger type, like a Terrace Marshall, someone like that. Because I kind of think the early second is right around the price point that you're going to be at regardless of what happens. And I'm not saying you can't get more than that if he has a big game, but I think that's kind of where you're aiming if he does something, even if he just has a decent game. I think that's the place you're at. So, I mean, it's a big bet if you pay like, 201 or 202 for him because you may be stuck with him. And I guess it comes down to, I'll get curious on Shane's thoughts because I know he doesn't really like Kadarius Toney either. I don't necessarily want to be stuck with Kadarius Toney shares. Yeah. So this is a short-term like speculation thing.
Look, I'm fine. So, there's certain times you want to I'll take shots on players, right? Because I'm like, all right, this guy could be, I can't even think of the example right now, but basically like this could be a guy that, yes, he could be that's just that weapon, where he just does 6 for 70 and a touchdown, like more often than not. So I don't do portfolio playing per se, but he is one of those guys where I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't mind having him in like 6 or 7 of my dynasty leagues, just enough that like if he does pop, I'm like, cool, I got that. You know what I mean?
6 or 7, that's a lot, Shane.
Well, that's 13%. So I can live with that. That's not super high. Clay's doing math. It's probably wrong. He's not like me. He's not good at math.
No. Actually, I was asking what your stocks are looking like James Cook wise these days. Are you still a little heavy on
no need for that.
Well, you cracked on me, so I had to crack on you. Toronto Dave, thank you for breaking that up. Appreciate the super chat, man. Lost Cup, now rebuilding. 12-team Superflex, start 9. Team is Mahomes, Dak, Cup, Diggs, AJB, 0 RBs, LOL. It's the way to be. I'm thinking I need to break down Diggs. Thoughts? Yeah, I mean, right? Like if you Mahomes, Dak,
Cup, Diggs,
why?
AJB,
I guess part of it is why are you rebuilding?
Yeah, I actually wonder.
Yeah,
I wonder what this team looks like from a production perspective because. I mean, I know he's missed Dak for quite a bit of the year, so I guess unless he just has no other players except for these guys. I mean, I think the answer is yes. You want to break down all the guys that you have at the same time. Like, is it too late? You know what I mean? Like, it's not too late to probably break down Diggs, but it's definitely too late to break down Kupp. So I don't know. It just seems weird that I would have kept Kupp and Diggs on a team where I was already planning on doing this.
I mean, I'd rather trade Kupp than Diggs at this point. and I know no one's going to like this. I would trade him straight up for George Pickens. And well, not straight up. I'd start with George Pickens and see if I could get a little more added to that. But I don't think you really need to rebuild. I mean, not with AJ Brown, Mahomes, and Dak, and Diggs isn't especially old. I mean, really, it's just I'd like to move off a Kupp because he's older and injured.
Okay, let's and Dave, if you have like a little bit more color behind
it's start
behind
10.
Team,
It's start 10. It's
start
one thing
10,
Dave
not
said.
9. Okay.
Yeah, and literally nothing else on his roster.
Got it.
Okay, so that's one of those where it's like that. You're not going to find a team like that was purposely built that way. I wonder if he kind of just ended up being that way after some other trades or some other moves.
All right. Well, then, yeah. I mean, yes. Try to trade Kupp. Yes. Try to trade Diggs. Don't trade Patrick Mahomes.
Yep. Okay, let's run through 2 quick inbox trades here before we go to any more super chats. We'll try to be quick here. Shane, your boy, inbox trade, 10 team, 1 QB, start 8. I give George Pickens and Cole Kmet. I receive Chris Olave.
Yeah,
Done.
you did. You did good. Hey, real quick, do you know what George Pickens' target share is this year?
17%.
Yeah, ish.
15.1. You know what Chris Olave's is?
Over 25.
28.
It's like 24 or something like that. It's much higher. Yeah, give me all the olives there.
What's the delta for you between here? I was the one saying let's do them quick. What's the delta between George Pickens and Chris Olave? What if I'm going to give you? How about George Pickens in an early 23 second or Chris Olave?
Chris Olave.
Yeah, see, it's weird because like George Pickens could go out and have 2 dominant games, and then we put him in Chris Olave's tier overnight. Yeah. I'm just saying, if he went out and had 2 blow-up games, the community would put him there. Let's just call it.
So you go in process? Go in process?
But that's the thing. You're trying to ask what the process is. Here in a 1 QB start 8, the process is not anything not significant. It's almost in a shallow league like this, it's another George Pickens.
Yeah.
Basically. In a 12 team start 12. Okay, you would take 2 George Pickenses for 1 Chris Olave, right? Because you're going to start both of them. Right. So I think it really is finding that middle ground. I mean, the shallower the league, the bigger the gap.
Yep. Another inbox trade here for Devin. 12 team Superflex start 9, half PPR contending. Give Stephon Diggs and a 23 third. Get Mark Andrews and a 23 second. Just lost Goddard.
Yeah, I'll do this. The positional advantage at tight end for Andrews over whoever you're playing, and then whoever you're starting at this point. You probably went from Goddard to I don't even know, Logan Thomas,
Harrison Bryant,
Harrison Ford. I mean, it's not good. Whoever it is,
Shane Manila.
Yeah, Shane Manila at tight end, smoking cigarettes on the field. It's disgusting. I'll take the Mark Andrews, and you got the bump in the pick. It's not a slam dunk. It's not like, I stole Mark Andrews from someone, but I do like this deal.
If you have reasonable wide receivers, then yeah. What do you think, Scott? You're about to say something.
I don't think I do this. Only because now it's going to put me in a position where I have 2 tight ends in a half PPR league, start 9. I would rather just try to buy a replacement for Goddard cheaper than Mark Andrews and not have to give up Diggs, because you're definitely taking a points hit. So I wouldn't do this because I don't think the pick gap is big enough.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. That's fair.
We need to start making some trades.
Yeah, I made a trade today. I'll pull it up. I'll pull it up at some point.
I made a huge trade. Do you want to hear it?
I do. Let's go. Let's do it.
All right. So I gave up Khalil Herbert and I got Jaylen Warren. Big.
Spicy.
I like that.
Yeah. That's good. Okay. Mine's a touch spicier, but I'm not going to pull it up right now. It's bad podcasting. Okay, let's go to Casey here. Thank you very much for the super chat, Casey. Appreciate that. Hope you're well. He said, "Sup guys? 2023. Gotta love Casey's super chats." 12 team, 1 QB, half PPR, start 9 contender. Got offered London straight up for Amari Cooper. Other team is a contender too. Can't get myself to click accept. Also, Elijah Mitchell and a late 23 second or Rachaad White. So let's start with the first one. He was offered London straight up for Amari Cooper. Done.
What are you waiting for, Casey? He
Yeah.
says he can't get himself to click accept. What's the
click
hesitation?
Hit accept.
Click
Yeah.
Hit accept. Yeah, it's going to suck because Cooper's really good this year, and he might even get better with Deshaun Watson for those 3 games in the playoffs when you won't have him. But long term, by this time next year, you'll be like, that was the smart move.
Yes. Also, Elijah Mitchell in the late 23 second or Rachaad White.
I'll go Rachaad White here.
Give me Rachaad White.
Yeah. Look, Lenny broke his hamstring or whatever, so
yeah, he blew a Liz Frank.
Yeah, exactly. So Rachaad White should see some pretty good run here.
Yeah.
Although Elijah Mitchell out rushed Christian McCaffrey last week for some reason. I don't know what the hell happened there.
Yeah, I wonder if he can. Just trying to figure like doing these deals congruently at the same time, because you're obviously the value is on the London side, but now he's sitting here going like, I need production, right? Instead of making the deal, because I know you're going to say Rachaad White. I don't really care that much in a start 9 half PPR, which one I have. They're kind of occupying the same spot. If I have to say, hey, I have to play Elijah Mitchell instead of Rachaad White, I'm okay with that. I hope I don't have to play either one in a start 9, but if I do, I'm okay throwing either one in. Can he buy the receiver production for the late second? Can he buy Jacoby Myers for a late second?
Probably.
He's as good as Amari Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a way where you can like have your cake and eat it too. You get Drake London and you get the production close to it that you're trading away with Amari. And it's really just the difference between the running back pivot. So that's one of those process deals where you don't care about the players. You're trying to find points for the cheapest possible price.
Yep. Okay, let's move off of trades for a second. This one is I guess a quasi trade, but it's kind of
hey, just real quick, just need to announce no more super chats, please. Just because Clay is a married man and his wife has given him a deadline to get off the podcast tonight.
Oh, wow.
Otherwise, I'm not going to be a married man.
Yeah, he'll be living with me. It'll be awkward.
She gave you a deadline to get off.
Yeah. I know. The iced coffee.
Shane's words. I just took them and spun them.
The iced coffee super chat was not enough last
phrasing.
Week. Yeah, I think it was Paul, baby. Anyway, so okay, I currently have Walker, and I've been fielding calls for him. The top 2 teams have now asked about acquiring him, and both are willing to bid against one another for him. But should I hold him for future production? So I thought this one was cool because, I mean, if it's a bidding war, what's the strategy on that? And also, Ken Walker III, we always say if you're not contending, sell your running backs, but is he maybe one to just hold if you're not that far away?
If you have teams willing to bid, I'm always going to listen. That's the first thing. So if 2 teams literally are saying, and I don't even know how it got to the point where they both admit that they're willing to bid. Maybe because they know the other one's interested and you kind of like tipped your hand. Maybe
they're
like,
doing it publicly on the league chat and Sleeper or whatever. Like, what do you
need?
No, he's mine,
Or he's talking to both and he just happened to say, and I got another offer from, Shane or whatever. And you got to hear that out if they're willing to bid.
Oh, I would. I'm definitely telling both those guys or gals their offers too. I'm like, oh, it's close, but they got blah, 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 blah. You want to add blah to this so that we can make this happen? Get that.
How do you go about that, Shane? Do you make them put the offer in and then you push both offers back against each other? Or are you going to be quick to say, are you going to basically take the original offer from each and then tell each one what it's going to take and whoever takes it first?
I'm not going to tell them what it's going to take. I'm just going to let the other gentlewoman or gentleman know that this offer is that I have from, say, Clay is stronger than yours. Do with that what you will. And generally people are just going to tell you like, yeah, that's as high as it's going to go for me. I'm not even going to bother with that. Or they'll be like, hold on, give me a minute. And you're like, all right.
Hold on. Let me make a phone call.
How long do you let that go back and forth before you say, okay, this is what I need to get it done right now? Like I'm walking away if I don't get this piece, or it's just going to sit where it is. Like, do you go back in and say, because this is what I do for a living is negotiate. And so it's always curious when you make that offer and it's, I got anything, nothing but time in the world. I'm walking away. Call me in a month.
I think for me, it's when I start getting uncomfortable, when I realize that it's a move that I should make. I've already gotten to where I realize, I probably should sell, and I start to get a little queasy that, this bidding war is coming to an end, and it's just gonna blow up in my face if I don't do something. So that's my answer.
So I think one of the few skills I have in life is I am fairly good at reading people, right? I think I have a pretty good sense or knowing when I've basically push someone to the point where they're just like, you know what, go fuck yourself. Like that's, you know what I mean? That was the best offer you were going to get. And now I'm going to withdraw it. If you're not that, I guess, in tune with people, like if you just don't have that innate skill, and it's not everyone does, I'm fine with going, you know what, this is what I think the best is. This is good enough. I'm just going to hit accept. The one thing I don't like letting people do, and this is just me, is I don't like them letting anyone sleep on an offer or have an offer sitting out there overnight. Because some people are nerds like me, and they go in the shower and they start thinking about the trade offers that are out there, and they go, wait a minute, that's absurd. Why would I do that? And then they run out, hit cancel on their phone, fall when they go back into their bathroom. Not that this has ever happened to me, but I'm just saying as an example. So I definitely don't want to let it, go overnight.
Okay. So, yes. All right. Good question there. All right, let me move on. Sorry, I was just looking down the starred comments here, and we got a lot to roll through.
All right, let's plow.
All right, Joey Cheesesteaks, thank you very much for the super chat, man. 12-team Superflex PPR tight end premium 1.5 start 10. First year in contending window and a top team. Tight end is the issue. Have Lamar. Is Andrews worth the 102 plus? Thanks.
What's the plus, Joey? Because I think if you have Lamar, if this is your contention window, you're locking in the positional advantage. You just saw Goddard go down, so barring Andrews comes back, I mean, you're hitting not just getting a good player, but you're getting a elite player at a very scarce position, and you're stacking him with your quarterback, and you're in the contention window, and you just happen to have
this slight tight end premium.
Yep, and he has this 102 lane here. There might be other times where he wants to make a move, and you don't have a pick like this available. So like this is one of those where it's like if someone's willing to trade you Andrews, you got to at least explore. So I guess it comes down to what's the plus. I don't know what the plus is.
If the plus is a second round pick, done. We're doing it.
Okay. Yeah, it's probably not super significant. Like
sounds like that may get it done with the asking the question. It sounds like it may be close just with the pick. So I'm okay with it.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, if you don't get the ship, obviously it's a big bummer. But you've got Lamar and Mark Andrews on your dynasty roster for a while. Okay. Thank you very much, Joey. Appreciate that, man. We'll move that one. Let's go to Marcus here. Thank you very much, Marcus. Appreciate it, man. 10-team Superflex PPR start 8. Gave a late 23 first.
We did this one.
Yeah, this is the one he ended up getting all of his extra quarterbacks for value. Good job, Marcus, again.
Yes, you did. Nicely done. Excuse
me.
We
like that trade so much. We just wanted to bring it up again.
So much. We like it so much. Derek, moments away from closing this. 10-team PPR 1 QB start 10. Give Jalen Waddle, Javonte Williams, Ken Walker, and a 24-second. Get Jamar Chase, Drake London, and a 24 first.
Dude, you should go hit it. I hope you hit accept, because I don't know when you actually sent this in, moments from this should already be done. Please tell me this is done. Derek, follow up with this. Please tell me you got this done.
Yeah, I'm not as easy. I'm not as quick to just.
It's not as easy for me.
I'm not as easy just to smash accept it. I mean, Waddle and what gets you to Chase? It feels uncomfortable because Chase isn't playing. He's going to be out a couple more weeks. So you're kind of like, but Waddle's on a bye this week. So, I mean, let's just call Waddle and Javonte for Waddle and Javonte for Chase.
No.
But for purposes of this, let's just call it that. I'd still take Drake London in the first over Ken Walker in the second. So I guess if you look at it that way, take it.
Yeah.
Why are you hesitant on it, Clay?
Same thing. I just had to talk through it because at first I was like Waddle and Javonte. I was doing my best to cancel out Jamar Chase right there, but that doesn't cancel it out quite. So yeah, I'm less enthusiastic as Shane, but he was quicker to read it. Then we would take the get side as well.
Reading is one of my many skills.
Yeah, exactly. Reading and speaking and reading people. Okay. Thank you, Derek. Appreciate it, man. Let's go to Patty's here. Inbox trade. Give Dalton Schultz, get Jeff Wilson. Half PPR,
Done.
no premium, start 9, contender.
Done.
Yeah, it's fine. Just,
Yeah.
Hopefully you have Raheem Mostert too, because Jeff Wilson's definitely going to get hurt. But until he does, I love it.
Yep. Go for it. Okay. Let's see. Let's move on to Jack here. Thank you very much, Jack. Appreciate it. 12-man, start 10, half PPR. Trade Breece Hall, a late 24 first for DJ Moore, Debo Samuel, a late 23 second, and 2/3.
No, I'm good.
Nah, DJ Moore is just not doing it for me like that.
So let me ask you real quick here, and this doesn't need to get long-winded, but Breece Hall, are you giving up a projected mid 23 first for him? Let's say you think it's going to be like 106, 107-ish. Will you give that for Breece Hall right now?
I would say no, but that's because when he went down, I was basically selling him for a early to mid 23 first if I could get it. But I think we also have to acknowledge that was a month ago or more. So as time goes on, that price gap becomes less and less desirable, right? Like just liquidating Breece Hall in week 16 of the season, unless you really have a plan for something to do with that pick. Part of what you wanted to liquidate Breece Hall for was, especially if you're contending, was like, I want to have those extra picks just in case there's something that comes up. So, I think we get to the end of the offseason and you're going like, all right, it's the 108. You're probably open to maybe trading that for Breece Hall because it's not like Breece Hall is going to get to a value point where you can't attain him. But to answer your question, I think right now I still would because I have time. But that's assuming I have a team that I'm ready to pitch that 24 first or 23 first plus something else and, make a move for points during the deadline.
Yeah, this is where I definitely fall back in love with players, right? I loved Breece Hall so much. And then he hurt me by getting injured, which I guess that probably hurt him more than me, if we're going to be honest. And now I'm falling back into I think I would pay that for Breece Hall. I would pay a mid to late first for Breece Hall.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to the next one here. Jacob's got a super chat here. Thank you very much. Give Pierce a late first for the 101. Can I pull this off? 12 team, 1 QB, 2 flex PPR. Is this a reasonable trade? I'm trying to steal the 101. LOL.
Yeah, it's reasonable. I mean,
it's not offensive.
It's definitely not offensive. I did something like this in a league that I'm in where I gave up two starters just to get the 101, one of them being high end. I think it was DK Metcalf. I'd be fine with doing it. And it's not an offensive offer, like Clay said. Like it's not like you're going to send this to them and they're going to be like, oh, hi, never, sir. You know what I mean? Like they're not going to try to duel you or anything.
Yeah, I think if you could do this, though, that this is cheaper than even if you don't end up getting more for the 101 later, the opportunity of having it in your pocket versus somebody else's throughout the next 6 months is going to be worth it. You're going to get to the end of the season. You're going to wish you had that versus the 2 pieces you're giving up. So offer it, Jacob.
Yeah,
you are stealing it.
Yes, you would be, and maybe you'll get some data back. Maybe it'll be a no, but you'll find out, where his or her head is at with that 101.
It's a good point.
Okay.
Maybe they're willing. Maybe they're willing to move the 101 in the future.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go to this real quick. Matt Woolbright, we just wanted to address this. I've heard the guys mention roster reviews quite a bit on this show. Does anyone know the process for getting one of those done? Yes, so we are, Shane and Scott and I sure do. So we are still on a brief pause. Shane and Scott are going to be doing a marathon review day. They're going to street corners and getting coffee, energy drinks, and whatnot, and they're going to hammer through a bunch. So we're going to try to get back on track here. But yes, email. Let's go to the banners here. You can DM us on Twitter but I found out that emailing Dynasty Trades in 5 at gmail.com and keeping it right there is easier for me to manage instead of getting it in multiple spots. So if you could send an email to Dynasty Trades in 5 at gmail.com saying you're interested in a review, I'll get back to you with the details on it. We do charge for them to help keep this little channel going. And Shane and Scott and I put a lot of work into them, but yeah, so we do charge for them, but we've heard that they're well worth it. Just a quick look as to what you would get. This is it. I'm gone. Your roster is in between Shane and Scott, and they beat it up top to bottom, no holds barred, and they have a lot of fun doing it. So, good feedback thus far on the roster reviews.
Hey,
so thank you for that question. What's up, buddy?
I just want to share something. Hey, Tommy, I'm going to go back and look now. I didn't see it in there, but if you want to shoot it at us again, the question, we'll make sure we get to it. But I'm gonna go scour the beginning.
0 for 3.
Damn it.
I thought he said he's gonna go squirt.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go squire this.
Okay. So let's go to this one here, and yeah, we have please hang tight on the super chats if you will. We'd appreciate that. We appreciate all the generosity, all the questions, all 299 people in here. But yes, I do have
insane for a Tuesday. I love you guys.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Garrett asks, you're a contending team, but injuries continue to cripple you. Breece, Javonte, Marquise Brown, Goddard, etc. Do you spend picks in 2024 for Band-Aid rentals and try to win, or accept fate and hold for next year?
I'll take this because I think this is a question that I think about all the time, and it's part of what drove me to start playing in more leagues, because
yes,
it's not just injuries, it's just the general variance of you're going to have teams that are starting to just, without saying it, they're just kind of giving it up. They're packing it in for the season. They're not teams you identify that you even want players on, even if the players are out there. And you can't predict that going into the year. You can't say, okay, these are going to be the 18 teams in week 13 that are actually trying, or the teams that aren't just going like, we're playing for the future and going through the motions. Like, we already know which teams you want. Like, there's probably a dozen teams where you're like, I want players on those teams, and I hope they're contending and try to do everything they can to score as many points as possible throughout the rest of the fantasy season. But then there's some teams and you just go like, I don't want any players from that team. And then there's teams that shut players down early with injuries because who cares? And then you have a bunch of injuries on your dynasty team. So there becomes a point where, and he mentions, do I start dipping into my 24 picks? If you've already gutted your 23 picks and you're still like not guaranteed to win, I think there's got to be a point where you kind of throw in the towel.
Yep. Shane is looking at something as well.
And he's muted, so definitely distracted.
I'm definitely not on mute. Tommy, I just looked back. I don't see you, bro. But if you want to throw it back up, we'll get you.
Yeah, just put the question back in there. Appreciate it. Okay, let's move on to this one right here. Davis Daniels 123. Thank you very much for the super chat. 12 team Superflex start 10. Give Lamar Jackson, Michael Carter, and a 23 second. Get Justin Fields and Ken Walker the third. This is where we are now, guys. This is where we are. Are you ready? Are you ready to make the bet on Justin Fields? Are you more comfortable with the bet? It's becoming less of the crazy odds.
All right. So I wouldn't do this in every league, but I would definitely, and this is part of the advantage of playing in a lot of leagues, is I would make this move in a few leagues because I'd go, I like Fields a lot. And Ken Walker compared to Michael Carter in a 23 second is an absolute smash show. Like, I might turn around and go, all right, let me trade Walker now, just to protect myself, get some picks. But yeah, I think I'd do this.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it would be definitely balancing what shares I have where. But I think the point with Fields, and we did a Fields video, and it's like you now can get to the table with an offer like this.
Yep.
Legitimately, a lot of people may accept this offer. I'd probably look at it and be like, all right, do I have too much Lamar Jackson? I would go probably more into it than just the straight up, assets for assets. But I think this is the biggest key with what's happened with Fields. And we have to acknowledge it, even if we've been kind of crapping on Fields, is like you can put him in a deal like this, and the other manager is not like, no way. Like, it's legit. So if you really believe in Fields, like, you're getting clearly the second best piece besides the quarterbacks
Yeah.
here, or the best piece. So I'm okay with it.
It's a great trade. I think that the delta between Walker and Michael Carter, we all agree is huge. And yeah. YOLO, man. I think Fields has earned the right to get there, or at least Thank you very much for that super chat, Davis. Appreciate it. Okay, let's move on to the next one here, and it is. I was starting to text my wife. 4 minutes. 4 minutes, not a chance in hell we get done here.
Rapid fire. Come on, we know how to do
no, because we've got a ton of super chats, and we need to give them respectable answers. So I'll just get the shit kicked out of me here in a little bit.
Yeah, whatever. Look, being divorced isn't that bad.
Okay, let's go to this one right here. Mr. Wonderful, you were Mr. Generous. We appreciate it, man. Strategy question. Heard good things on the 24 class. Mentioned having 723 firsts. Would it make sense to trade some mid to late 23 first now before the value of 24 picks go up? If so, what would be a target offer, i.e. a 23 second plus a 24 first?
Yeah,
I think you're definitely kicking the can a little bit where you have way too much exposure to 23s. I think you pick your spots. You try to shoot for the leverage in some of the spots where you think could be the dead zones of the class. It's not going to be exact, but you run the risk where you think, oh, on the clock, I'm going to be able to send that 110 for a future 24 first, and then you can't.
Yeah.
Like, that's possible. So if again, I would rather do this deal if I'm giving up the 108-ish, getting a first and a second, versus gambling that I'm going to be able to, because here's the thing. We always know when you're on the clock, everyone on the board, especially if you're in a league that has like somewhat sharp people that are getting information similar places you are, we all know where the tiers are. If you're like, oh, it's a dead zone, let me trade away that pick. Half the people in the league are going, I don't want that pick. So you kind of got to take a little bit of a gamble early. So I would definitely do one or two. I'd move them for 24s, especially if it's teams you look at the manager and you're like, yeah, that guy's not very good. Let me get his pick.
So the quarterbacks, Caleb Williams, Quinn Ewers, there's like three other guys, right? That are really good. It's going to be a really good quarterback class.
I don't even care about that.
Anthony Richardson.
I don't care about that. Because you know what? We thought Sam Howell and Spencer Rattler and DJU were going to be awesome. And we're coming up on the classes that should have had those three, and nope. But you're right. You're right, Shane. The perception is that's going to deliver us 3 all-pro quarterbacks in that class. So give me the picks for that reason, not because I think those I'm betting on those players.
Right. Yeah.
Put it this way: if I have any of those players in Devy, I've sold them all. Because why would I want to bet on Drake May 2 years out?
Drake May.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'll just add, like, timing wise, like, if it depends on your league, but if you do it now, it might be a little fishy almost. Wait for a time when there's the hype initially builds on the 23 class, and then by the time we get to that, you'll know which first is which and try to make the move then. So not too early, not too late. That's all I'd say there. Okay. The Facebook disruptor, Charlie. Someone dropped Toney. Thank you for the super chat. Someone dropped Toney. I got him weeks ago. What's he worth now? Can we pair with a second for a first? Maybe Freiermuth. So Freiermuth and a second, or I'm sorry, Freiermuth and Toney for a first. Should we wait? He hit. How do we not miss out on the value? Rebuilding team.
Well, yeah, you send the offer right now. You just spam your league. Here's a second and a first, or excuse me, a second and a first. Here's a second and Toney for a first. Just go down the list of 23s. If everyone rejects it, we go, all right, I'm going to put him in my pocket till next week, and we're going to try this again and hope that he comes out and smashes without, every other wide receiver playing next week. Although it could be a big Sky Moore week.
Yeah, I'm good with this. That's probably the best case scenario if you picked him up off waivers and someone dropped him. Like, you could sell for a second, but we already talked about Toney earlier. You probably want to hold through this week if you're not going to try to get something a little more aggressive. So I like that offer. I'd rather actually do the second. I mean, I guess it depends. We don't know what the tight end premium is, so I'm fine with either one, I guess. Freiermuth or the second.
Okay. Thank you very much, Charlie. Let's put this one down here. Someone banging. Who's doing that? Is that you tapping?
It's the
shit?
rain. It's the rain.
Oh, it's the rain.
Tapping on my window.
Okay.
There's a little bit of a tapping, and then there's a mouse clicking.
There's also
Everything is coming from over
there's,
here.
Shane,
it's
you need to
raining
go set
mouse
those
clicks.
mouse traps.
Yeah, it's raining mouse clicks too. I can't help that.
Oh, man. Okay, let's move to this one here. Brandon Lewis, 12-team, non-superflex, start 9. Give Brian Robinson a late 23 first, the 110 to 112 range. Aaron Rodgers and a 25 fourth. Receive Trevor Lawrence and a 24 first. Trade deadline is this week. Help. You guys are awesome.
Oh, yes. Yes, I'll do this. You've got I'm not great with math, right? But 10, 11, 12, that's like 3. You've got like a 75% chance that 24 pick is going to be earlier than the 23 pick. And you're getting a quarterback that actually has some ascending value. And I don't care about Brian Robinson as much as I love guy. He had 416 carries last night for 80 yards, give or take.
Yeah, this is actually a great trade because this is the type of 23 pick you want to turn into a 24 pick before you know where the 24 pick's going to be. Because it sounds like he's pretty confident this is a playoff pick.
Yeah.
And you're masking it. And so even if you call the 2 picks a wash, you're still getting Trevor Lawrence for Aaron Rodgers and Brian Robinson.
Exactly.
So Brandon, nicely done, man.
Yeah. Nicely done. Okay, let's keep going here. He got me. He started off with the first word being weird. That'll get me to click on it. Jacob asks, weird question. Brand new 10-team PPR Superflex start 8, keep 10. I have Lamomes. Yep, that's where we are now. 10-team PPR Superflex start 8, keep 10. I have Mahomes, Lamar, and Tua, but I'm unable to trade Tua for any value. Can't even get Davante Adams for him. Do I hold?
So this is weird because I don't know if this is because his league overvalues old wide receivers and name cachet and like Davante Adams, because most of me wants to go, well, then, all right, go try to get one of these rookie wide receivers instead. But yeah, I don't want to sell Tua for pennies. So if people are going to not see the value in him right now, then I'll hold on to him for a little bit.
Yeah.
We can call it Llama Holmes. Maybe La Holmes, one of those two.
La Holmes.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with this. You have a positional advantage at 2 spots, and you have the insurance already there. So wait for the deal to come to you. That don't accept because the rest of your league won't do the deal. There will be somebody, probably maybe it's in the off season, but there will be somebody else that's coming to you going, hey, I need a quarterback. I had, Carson Wentz and Jared Goff looking to get a quarterback, and you hold the price, you hold the ticket. So be patient.
Yeah, and don't just be like, oh, well, I'm not really getting any action on Tua and start dangling Mahomes and Lamar out there if you don't want to do that. Just to get some action. Okay, let's go on to this one here. Starting to work through these. Here we go. What would you be looking to get for A-Rob on a contending team?
I wanted to just give a quick answer to this. Any second. Yep, any second. Because I think he's going to get exposed quickly, as he's not just going to get a bunch of targets because Cooper Kupp's not there. He's still going to probably struggle to get targets, and they're going to be extremely bad quality. And if he has one game and he doesn't smash without Cooper Kupp, then there's no market. So yeah, take any second, walk away.
Okay, if you wouldn't mind hiding that one there, Scott, I'll put this one up here. Dale, evening, everyone. Evening. I'm rebuilding 12-team PPR Superflex non-tight end premium. Trade away Kyron Williams and a late 23 first to get Trey Lance. So it's a non-superflex, or no, it's a Superflex non-tight end premium. Yeah, I'd give up a late first.
This was one of Shane's
Kyron
original
Williams.
Undersized running back loves here. This was even before James Cook entered his life.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I would take this immediately. Although Kyron Williams did have 5 targets last week, but no, dude, immediately accept this.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Let's go to this one here. Strategy question: how would you treat a half PPR league versus a full PPR? How does player value and roster construction change? Thanks.
Let me hit this one like real quick, like 45 seconds.
Yeah.
So really the only difference, depending on how many starters there are, that's the first thing. That's going to depend on like where your flex threshold is. If it's a start 10, which is what we usually operate as the default, it just basically means the running backs are slightly better flexes. So I don't want to plug like my other show, but like go back and listen to the Destination Dynasty shows when I talked about roster construction. I did the first two on wide receivers was the first one. Literally, you just kind of take however many receivers you're going to carry and you maybe bump it down by one. And running backs are in the flex a little bit more frequently, but not that much more. It's maybe like 50% versus 60%. So a little more running backs, maybe you want to have more of a like 2 hero RB approach, or at least one. You don't want to have one of these rosters where it's like you have all RB2s, 3s, and 4s, but it's not that different, honestly. The distribution of the points isn't that different.
Yep. Okay, let's go to this one and plug away, man. You have an awesome show. So I mean, hey, we're all family here. Super chat from Darth Desmond D. Thank you very much, sir. 12 team super flex, 4 IDP trade today. Javonte Williams for 2023, 201, 302, 402, 502. I'm rebuilding. Still have 323 first and 123 second. How did I do? Okay, so I guess traded for Javonte Williams today is what it sounds like, right? Gave up a second, third, fourth, fifth.
Maybe. It's not really clear whether he traded away or traded.
Well,
Okay,
he says still have 323
Yeah,
first
right.
and 123 second.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, if you trade it for him, that's a good buy low. That's not expensive. I like that.
Yeah, because I mean, if he gets some buzz, you get the videos where he's cutting this and that, like you could turn him into 24 first, and we would take a 24 first probably over all of that stuff, right? So yeah, it's all in all a decent trade there. Thank you very much for that super chat, man. Okay, let's move this one. We've got Charlie's back. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, man. And apparently we got another super chat that was added. Again, thank you very much for your generosity. But I'm gonna have my left ball cut off tonight.
At least you got Manscaped to manage it after.
I've got Manscaped balls. I wear some pants, just not the pants in this relationship. Charlie asked, 12 team superflex, start 9 PPR. What is Debo's value? If he's a high end wide receiver 2, what draft pick or running back / tight end is he worth? Rebuilding team, not the same as the previous one.
The problem is no one ever wants to buy Deebo. Yeah. No one literally ever wants to give you anything for him. He's one of these guys that like you're better off I'm gonna put him in my pocket. He's young enough that I'm gonna hold him till next year, and then we'll go through this dance again where I'll try to trade him again, and no one will give me whatever production nothing worth near his production. At least that's what it seems to be on in the leagues I play in and most of the market I see. You just can't get requisite value for Deebo.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like he's wide receiver 15 on DLF, 16 on keep trade cut, but you go out and put him in an offer for the other guys around him. Like the other guys around him are Drake London, Garrett Wilson, DK Metcalf. Like nobody ever goes, give me Debo Samuel for one of those guys. So he's just
you get wide receiver like, 30 pricing.
Correct. He's one of those guys you're always going to be on the buy low end if you can, because he's probably better than what the market says, but no one that has him is selling at that price. They're still wanting the high wide receiver 2 price, which you just never get. So
yeah, so spam for 23 first of any kind.
I like that. Yep.
Okay, thanks again, Charlie. Appreciate it, man. Let's move on to the next one here. Okay, we're gonna hit a non-super chat here real quick. Andrew Drain, didn't Shane trade Breece straight up for Pickens in a few leagues? Why not London?
That was a full PPR league. Those leagues that I'm trading him in, and even then, I feel a little dirty afterwards. And I couldn't get London in those leagues for that same price. So I took the shot on Pickens there.
All right, there's your answer. Andrew Fontaine, thank you very much for the super chat, man. 12-team Superflex start 10. PPR traded Walker Claypool for AJ Brown, a mid 23 second, a 24 first, and a 24 second. Then AJ Brown and an early second for Ridley, Breece Hall, Thornton, and a mid to late first. I have 6 firsts, 3 in the top 5. Okay, so gave Walker Claypool for AJ Brown a second, a first, and a second.
Yeah, I would have stopped there. When you gave away Walker and Claypool for AJ Brown a second and a first, I love that. Absolutely love it. But then you gave up AJ Brown a second for Ridley, Breece. I don't care about Tyquan Thornton. This feels like, and look, trust me, I get in these moods too, where like I keep making trades. I'm like, oh, this is so great, make another trade, and then I make the other trade, and I'm like, I should have stopped. I should have stopped at the last trade, and that's what this one feels like to me, Andrew.
Yeah, now has 6 firsts though, so more
good.
leverage and not too much leverage on the class. 3 in the top 5, so that first could be more valuable than your everyday 23 first, if you will. But yeah, maybe you should have stopped.
Advice would be take a couple of those first and go buy like AJ Brown.
Yeah. Exactly. All right. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate that. Let's move to Steven here. Thank you, sir. In y'all's Fields Dynasty Trades in 5 video, y'all said Fields over an early 23 first. What if it was the 101? I think it's still Fields. To a degree, conviction over process will be where the future edges are gained.
I like the conviction. I don't argue with if you made that trade. I think the only and this is an interesting point. We're going to talk a ton about it over the next 6 months. Are you moving off of the 101 at a time where you don't have to move off for the 101 for this? But then if he says, hey, I know my league, I'm going to have that 101, but I'm going to be looking for this Godfather deal that's just never going to come to me in that league. And I took Justin Fields because I want a quarterback. I need a quarterback. I love Justin Fields, whatever. Okay. I'm not going to argue with it. I think ultimately it comes down to, and this is going to be something we're going to have to figure out, is if I hold that 101 in January, am I going to be able to name my price and get something better? If not, then why not take Fields? He's a top 15 startup pick right now. So take it.
Okay. Let's yes, take it indeed. Sorry, I was reading those messages there. Thank you, Stephen. Appreciate it, man. Okay. Keep rolling fast here. Gav Curtis, thank you, sir. PPR 2 flexes. Give Pierce Pickens, get Kupp. Not in a win now.
Damian?
As opposed to Alec.
If it's Damian, I'm definitely not giving this for Cooper Kupp. And it doesn't even matter if I'm a win now team. Like, I actually think I might consider you could sell somebody on giving Pickens for Kupp, even if you're playing for next year. But Damian Pierce and Pickens for Kupp right now, no thanks. Don't do this.
No, I'm gonna pass. No matter what Pierce it is, unless it's Alexander Pierce, because he's a deceased president.
Thank you for that super chat.
Shane whiffed history too, because he's definitely not an Alexander.
Oh, for one on history tonight.
Whatever.
Thank you, Steven. Appreciate it, man. Inbox offer 12-team start 12 super flex 0.25 point per carry, so 0.25 for every rush attempt. That is a big PPC too. PPR 1.75 tight end premium. Contender, give Judy a late 23 second. Get Aaron Jones and Conklin. I have little to no draft capital until 2025.
I'm okay with it. Point per carry.
And the point per carry. If it weren't a point per carry, then I wouldn't want to be doing it. But point per carry is the.
It's start 12, man. I want to hold on to Judy in the second and hope that I get lucky with that second. I mean, I know Aaron Jones is more valuable in a PPC, but he also noted that he doesn't have any draft capital to 2025. This feels like Aaron adding like gasoline to a dumpster fire. You know what I mean? Like, hey, here, and then it's just all gone. Not that I guess Judy in a second in and of themselves is going to turn that around, but I think I want to hold there.
Yeah. So I guess we're kind of on the fence ish, but
It's
the
2
point
to
per
1.
carry,
It's
the
2 to
point
1,
per
you guys.
point per carry. If you want to get that ship, we're good with the get side. Two of us are. Okay. Real quick here, Olave or Kupp?
Olave.
Olave. Let's go to this one here. Inbox trade. 12 team superflex, tight end premium, PPR, start 12. Contender, give Kupp, get Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Keenan Allen.
Yes, sir.
All day.
Yeah, just can I get something besides Keenan Allen? That's all. I would just see if I could.
Don't
if I can't
risk
find
it. Don't risk it.
Just hit accept and move on.
Don't risk it.
I mean, you don't want Keenan Allen, but it's essentially like a throw in Keenan Allen. So start 12, sure.
Okay. Jackson Holland, thank you, man. Appreciate the super chat. 10 team, start 8, 1 QB. Sanders for Dylan, full rebuild.
No.
Try to get a receiver. Try to get a young receiver. If you're in a full rebuild or a pick. I know it's start 8, but or tax Sanders on to something.
Yeah, I mean Sanders is having the best season of his career for Dylan, who's having a pretty awful one. No, I'll hold on to Sanders.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah. Okay, well, I had that one. Thank you again, Jackson. Sorry that we're kind of running through these ones here. We got another super chat that came in. No mas, por favor. Spanish skills field. I see this here. I emailed about the YouTube channel tips. Just so I know. Yes, I saw that come through. Field, appreciate it, man. And yes, I will get back to you. Let's just jump on one of these. It'll be easier for me to talk it through because I could write a dissertation on YouTube tips at this point. Some of which would not be correct.
Could you write that and please let me read it?
Not a chance. Not a chance. Yep. All right. Thank you, Field. Appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you soon. Tyler B. 12 team half PPR dynasty start 10 competing. Would you give Dobbins and Bateman for Dalvin Cook? Hate to give up on the potential, but need RB points.
Yeah, I mean, this is why you have.
Yeah, good with it.
If you can't liquidate these guys for picks and then do it, like this is kind of the deal you're looking for. You're trading 2 players out for the season, pretty much. Dobbins may come back, but I'm okay with it. This is definitely a win now move, right?
Yeah.
I'm doing this. You're giving up 2 injured guys that haven't proven themselves yet. So definitely for Dalvin Cook. I know he's an expiring asset, and that's fine. I know what he is.
But yeah, and hopefully too, and it's a half PPR, and if you're competing this year, hopefully Dalvin is one of the guys who we know is gonna, just survive and maybe play for a lot of years. Maybe Dalvin Cook will. It's not like he's a pumpkin after this year, so maybe he can help you next year too. Okay, I'm still stuck on Halloween. Next one here. Thank you for that super chat. Cobra Kai, thank you as well. Have an interesting trade scenario below in the chat. Wanted to see what you guys thought. Love the show. Thank you.
Any chance we start that?
Shane is on it. We'll be getting that. We'll
Go
be getting
super chat hunting, Shane.
Oh, by the way, while Shane is super chat hunting,
God damn it.
Hey, we don't need to bring him into this. 318 people in here. If you wouldn't mind making sure you just hit that little thumbs up button, we'd appreciate it so people can hop on here and see this loveliness at the end of this podcast. Got to give Shane credit. He's looking. He never has focus like this. This Cobra Kai focus.
Oh, found it.
Got it. Go ahead.
All right. 102 is a game behind 101, so it's close. Need a second quarterback and running back for stretch run. I'm giving my hopefully late 23 first and Bateman to my opponent this week, 101 team, for his Ramondre Stevenson and Mac Jones.
So 102 is a game behind 101. Need a second QB and running back for the stretch run. I'm giving my hopefully late first and Bateman to my opponent this week, the 101 team, for his Stevenson and Mac. So basically, he's sandbagging the matchup for himself, and he's helping himself out by getting Stevenson and Mac Jones. I'm okay with it.
Yeah. I mean, if if this pulls it off, like if this isn't like, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world if you need a quarterback anyway, getting Stevenson and Matt.
Well, and 101 is probably willing to do it because he wants the loss.
Yeah.
And he wants to be able to say he doesn't have a quarterback, or you know what I mean? He's going to have two players or two assets that he can't play.
Yeah.
So I see it. I like it. I like the thinking.
Yeah, definitely. Because that 101 versus 102 is could be a very big deal. Okay. Let's thank you for that super chat, man. Appreciate it. We have come on, man. How do I no, thank you guys. Always here for my final advice. Don't get in too much trouble. Got it. He's just say it's just a thank you super chat. I'm sorry. Okay. Jake H, thank you very much, sir. 10-team half PPR, super flex, start 10. Jacoby Myers and Antonio Gibson for DK Metcalf. Not quite contending this year.
Ooh, Scott loves Jacoby Myers like his own son or cat.
He's very good, but I'm okay taking in a 10-team start 10 half
PPR.
PPR. I'm okay taking the best asset here. Just go with Metcalf.
Yeah, give me Metty.
Yep.
Give me DK. Give me DK. If you add a 23 second onto that other side, even though it's start 10, that would give me more stuff to play with, and maybe I'd consider it. I like DK. I'm a DK guy. Okay. Jake, thank you very much. Sorry for rushing through this. You know us. Normally we'd be talking for like 10 minutes on Jacoby Myers after this.
Jacoby Myers is, low ceiling. Good player, though. Antonio Gibson is turned into an excellent change of pace back, but DK Metcalf is one of those receivers that has a top 12 season in him.
Yep. Okay, and we got Darth Desmond D. No, thank you guys. Always go here for my final advice. Love the show. Don't get into too much trouble. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Well, Clay's already setting up in the garage.
Yeah, no, she's
I
doing
need
that
a roommate. This is
nice
awesome.
Yeah. No. No, thank you very much for that. And again, sorry for kind of ramming through these last ones here. We made it an hour and 36 minutes today. And we'll do another long one sometime. But we got lots of stuff that we weren't able to hit in the chat, obviously. Tons of questions. We got 318 people who hung out with us tonight. Awesome as always, man. We'll see you in the comments in this show. And if you guys could, help each other out, answer some of the comments as well, that helps us out, and you can flex your dynasty muscles, because a lot of people in here have those now. Guys, you want to say goodbye?
Another great stream. These Tuesday night streams we gotta plan for really go at it on Tuesday nights, because it's these are the best streams. I love my Saturdays, like the lead up to the games on the next day, but these Tuesday nights are it's the perfect dynasty night because it's in between the big portions of the week. So thank you again to everybody.
We're either going to have to start earlier or stay later and just not go to work the next day. And I'm all for either. So no, thank you guys for gals, guys, everyone for watching and supporting us as always.
Yep. Appreciate it.
We'll see you soon, and be on the lookout for a trade deadline show tomorrow. Tomorrow's the deadline for me to get it out, but we're putting on me.
Sweet.
See you guys.